Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome one, welcome all, welcome to the Forts official tournament, Tournament 30. You heard that right, the 30th tournament here at Forts. And, well, it's going to be a 3v3 co-op on death. This is a format we've not had before. And, it's gonna be a good time. So without further ado, I want to say hello to everyone who's stopping in at the start of this cast, because it's gonna be a good one. I'll be showing off the qualifiers today, so we've got 3 weeks worth of Forts tournaments coming. Today is the qualifiers, and well, next week we'll be going on to the next stage. But for now, let's go ahead and join in to the voice call. We'll be joined here today by Nose. Hello there.
Hello, Incursus. How you doing, man?
I'm doing very well. Looks like the match is set, so we're good to go.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
As am I. So I want to say to everyone who's not seen or heard the beautiful voice of Nose before, we are joined today...
The voice of Nose.
The voice of Nose. We are joined today by Nose. He's one of the developers at the Forts studio. He likes to join for the various community events. And this is the 30th official tournament for Forts. There's many tournaments for Forts, community run or otherwise. He will be joining us today, so we'll be good to go. It looks like everything is actually on time. The cats have been herded, which is unusually smooth at the moment. So it looks like we're actually good to go to start out. And I'm into that idea.
I think we're going. Just waiting for them to ready up.
Yes, well, funny enough, they were already readied up.
Yes, there we go.
It's unusual, but I'm into it.
One last meow.
One last meow, I love that. And we're off. So this is a 3v3 tournament. That means that we've got, well, a lot of players on each team. And it starts off with the blue team here on the left-hand side. Armadillo, Liduricane, and Hack Tony. Playing as the Moonshine Commander, will be facing off against their opponents on the right-hand side in the red. It's Tar, Katya, and Flint Shadow. Now, these are players that are well known within the community. I'd say I'm a little bit more familiar with Tar, Katya, and Flint Shadow. They're regular occurrences on our usual live streams and our weekly Forts live streams. Very, very well known and top tier players, well badged as they were, both in the Forts Pro Leagues and the standalone tournaments, such as this one. On the other side, we have Armadillo and Hack Tony. I'm personally less familiar with them, but I do recognize them as the swing. Liduricane coming in with the core swing. Fairly standard set here, very standard loadout here, or lineup here for this core swing, so nothing particularly heart-pounding, at least no more so than core swings ever are. Hack Tony on top. It looks like fairly standard openers for heavy weapons rush kind of stuff. A bunch of these players are
also in the FPL and have quite a bit of experience in the league.
That's exactly what I was getting to. Armadillo, Duricane especially. So we are deep into this skill tree here for all players combined, for all players involved. My question is, how is this match going to proceed? It looks like we have largely a general consensus within the players here that they're not going to be super aggressive in the early game. We do have the token EMP coming out from Armadillo. A little bit of damage actually, splashing onto Kachia's core. We do see some differences in build patterns. The red team on the right-hand side here going with the lean style of force, where they weight their fort heavily to the rear while not giving it enough support to maintain any kind of uprightness. This pulls it backwards and adjusts the weight distribution. Whereas on the other side we see less leaning, we have more rigid forts. But the forts that we have are, well, there's at least one core swing, which is very relevant. Very relevant to the integrity of it. Ooh, Flynn Shadow is suffering a buzzsaw, collapsing their weapons platform and leaving him with, well, a lot of damage taken. It's a very expensive weapon to lose, and more importantly, reveals. It's a very revealing weapon to lose, as that explosion is unique to the Magna Beam and will strongly inform the opponents of their chosen tactic. Magna Beam only works when combined with kinetics. We're talking cannons, howitzers, and such. This implies that there's going to be 2 players of cannons from the red team and 1 player of energy beams, specifically the Magna Beam, coming from the top. This changes defenses. This changes things quite a lot. How blue team reacts to this is... honestly, I don't even know how I would react to this. I mean, I know how I would defend against it, but I wouldn't want to defend against it because the defense is so expensive. I would just say, you know what? I'ma just hit the opponents hard enough that they stop existing, and then they can't hit me back, is most of my response to this. That and the Magna Beam combo with the cannons is very difficult to pull off. Requires a high degree of cooperation and a little bit of luck. I just kind of hope they miss their shot, don't eliminate me while I hit them really, really, really hard. I'm a fan of that tactic as a response, but I'm pretty certain we see Liduricane here going with... yeah, Liduricane is going with a more sturdy defense against this kind of Magna Beam stuff. Surprised to see that EM... Oh.
That was interesting.
So that's... I've never seen that instance before.
Yeah.
Where Flint Shadow's Magna Beam got sniped, which caused it to explode. This is not unusual. We see this happen all the time. But the Magna Beam, for those who are unfamiliar, causes all nearby projectiles to home in on its location. Because its location was inside Flint Shadow's fort, that EMP, that token EMP, got sucked into Flint Shadow's base. And just so happened to hit a very exposed core from the bottom kind of behind, and eliminating Flint Shadow. I've never seen that before. In all these hours, in all these years, and thousands of hours, that's a first.
Yep.
Sniping someone's Magna Beam while the token EMP is just out and about, leading to an elimination of the core. That's new. Okay, well, that happened. That happened a lot. And well, welcome to Forts, where madness can occur. And it's a great time to mention that this is the Co-op on Death tournament. The first, I think, major official tournament, at least 3v3 tournament, to feature Co-op on Death. Which means that Flint Shadow, despite losing a core, is now able to merge his control with and participate. In this instance, he's merged with Katya's base, so this rear fort here is now controlled by both Katya and Flint Shadow. Which is a lovely feature, by the way. I like that feature. Question is, will it be enough? We have standard cannons, as we saw from the original attempt. Team 2 just going with a lot of cannons that are going to be doing a lot of damage. Looks like they're focus firing Armadillo in the forwardmost fort, just trying to splash him down. For those who have kept up with forts, cannons are stereotypically the weapons that win via economic devastation. Eventually, the target just can't repair faster than the damage comes in, just because, well, there's way too much damage coming in. Because the repair bill is too high. Even if you have the APM to physically rebuild everything, redraw your fort, what you don't have is the money to do so, and then the cannons just kind of chip on through. That's typically how cannons obtain victory. Armadillo, unfortunately, does not currently possess any upgraded mines to help stave off the economic devastation. And as such, does not have a particularly strong defense against cannons. Getting hit by that is just going to be problematic. Fortunately, getting hit would be most of Armadillo's goal, as Armadillo doesn't have to win, at least not directly. Armadillo has to survive, as Armadillo possesses 2 teammates, each of which are ramping up their weapons, bringing their firepower to bear, as we see here. And for every shot Armadillo takes is another shot that our teammates get to send out toward Red Team, bring Red Team further and further toward defeat. Oh, look at that shot. It's a beautiful shot. Kind of surprised to see Armadillo going with the howitzer here. The howitzer, I mean, a strong choice. And I think I would have gone more defensive focus, maybe a little bit more guaranteed damage. Maybe another cannon instead to guarantee the damage, if anything. Because Armadillo is just going to keep getting hit over and over and over again. And, well, that howitzer could have been a lot of defenses. Tar, known for going mass cannons, not able to maintain a significant sum of the kinetic weaponry, mostly because it keeps getting sniped from on high. We see the 2 rear players for Team 1. Left-hand side here going maximum eco, as Armadillo in the forwardmost fort just takes cannon round after cannon round. Lots of snipers coming out from Team 2, looking to deal with those energy weapons. Looks like blue team giving red a bit of their own medicine. Oh, dude, this sniping. The sniping. Magna Beam cannon combo slapping Tar quite heavily, but not actually breaking through the defenses, where, on the other hand, Hack Tony loses 2 energy weapons to snipers. Which is always painful, but never surprising. Oh. Howitzer from on high. The cannons being merged by the Magna Beam just slices all the armor off of Team 2's rearmost base, leaving it completely exposed to, well, everything and anything. Unfortunately for blue team, they don't have anything to follow up, so the red team will be able to recover, but that's not the kind of damage you want to be taking. Oh, a swing and a miss. Ooh, a nasty hit coming from the reach around. Those cannons merging, penetrating deep into Tar's base and sniping out his last remaining cannon. Team 2 is being picked apart here. Shot for shot, they're falling apart. And there's not a whole lot of options they have against it other than making sure to keep up with their own rate of fire. Hoping to get damage done in turn. It's just so much damage coming out from Team 1 at this point. But howitzer lands. Oof. Yeah, Team 2 loses another cannon. That's not the world they want to be living in right now. Oh, the snipers. As Team 1 just continues to ramp up the pressure. Bigger forts, bigger bases, more weapons. Look at that, adding in 3 more energy lasers, 3 more plasma beams in production at this point in time for Team 1. That's a lot of eco to be able to do that. They've got a lot of space. Looks like Red Team is all but giving up on firing at Armadillo. Understandable. Will mean Armadillo will be clear to bring to bear more weapons, including a second howitzer under construction. At this point, Team 2 is struggling. Team 2's got 2 cannons in production. But lacking any real active threat at this point. There's nothing stopping Blue Team from just committing mass violence. It looks like that's exactly what they're going to be doing. The Magna Beam forcing the cannon merge, ripping out much of the defenses on Team's 2 rearmost base, and just like that, it's exposed, and the laser beam follow-up wipes out majority of the rear base's economy. That's going to put them in a rough position because it's expensive to rebuild all of that. While they have the money to do so, it means that they no longer have a bank, as they've just spent all their reserve on reconstructing their metal income, and they don't have metal income until those mines come online. So that just completely shuts down the rearmost fort's progress. And while that's happening, they snipe out the frontmost fort, and that's it. Down to 1 fort and no money. Team 2 is it's looking like the end here.
And this is a best of 1.
It is
sort of knockout phase in this tournament.
We have a lot of participants here in the 30th tournament. So this is the qualifier phase, and well, it's best of 1s. So we may see Tar, Katya, and Flynn Shadow eliminated, or at least knocked out. Oh, that's bad. Yeah, that's the end. Massive damage, all weapons removed, huge repair bill. Team 2 has been, this is defeat. Team 2 has been knocked out of this round. Look at that, rockets coming in. That's a lot of damage. Yeah, and they know it. They're letting it happen. They're giving Team 1 the satisfaction of getting the final hits. And there it is. Armadillo, Ladurkin, and Hagtoni take victory in this matchup. Well done. So I need to check out that EMP kill because that was ridiculous.
It was.
That was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an EMP. That's hilarious.
Of all things. From full to dead in an EMP. You do not see that every day. So the EMP is midair when the Magna Beam gets sniped. And look at it. It just comes in from below, attracted by the Magna Beam. And snipes out Thin Shadow's core. That's ridiculous. Well, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Welcome to welcome. It's a strong start to the 30th tournament here.
It is. With a really interesting event that we've never seen before.
Hello, alright. I see you there, Moon Voyage, coming in with the 10 gifted subs. I want to say thank you for that support. Just wonderful support for the stream. For those who are unfamiliar, For those unfamiliar, we typically don't do much chat interaction during these broadcasts because we focus on the tournaments, as this is an official tournament cast. But I do want to say shout out, and we can chat between rounds. And we say shout out to Moon Voyage coming in with the generosity. Thank you. Give me a moment to join into the password change. Alright. Alright then. We're getting ready for the next round. Remember, you guys can use the bracket command to check out the standings for yourself. We'll be showing them off every so often. Next up, we have Team Infinity Aura versus Splayhawk.
We're just doing some lobby shuffling.
Yes.
To improve the pings of the players.
One of the behind-the-scenes things we do here to make sure the players have the best experience. At least the best experience possible. Alright. Looks like the players are here. We're still setting up the match. Question from chat was last round an upset, quote unquote. I don't know if upset is the right word. I would have favored Tar and Flint Shadow for victory in that round, but it's close-ish. For those who follow our content here every week, I would expect you to be more familiar with Tar and Flint Shadow just because they're regular faces around the streams, but the other competitors are quite well badged. I was fully expecting some wonderful back and forth, and there was.
While we're just waiting for stuff to get set up here, one thing we should make mention of is that the next season of the FPL is coming in mid-March, and that sign-ups for the teams is open. So if you feel like playing some competitive 2v2 in a league kind of setting, now's your chance.
Yes, it's still got a few more days of signups available for the Forts Pro League, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that one. The Forts Pro League is always top-tier gaming.
Yeah, I agree. Good high-skill games.
Let's see. Looks like the match is made. Players are readying up. We'll be jumping into the next round momentarily. The team Infinity Aura versus Splayhawk. Infinity Aura is, I believe, the Russian team. Yes. Ryabjik, Harasi, and Dami. I say the Russian team, but Harasi and Ryabjik. Alright. Looks like we're good to go. Let's jump into the action. Let's start it up and jump into the action. I am curious how this is going to go. I actually think I favored Team 1 if I were to guess which is most likely to achieve victory here.
What makes you say that?
Well, not in small part the ranking difference. And not that
Sure.
rank has a strong indicator. But also, the experience I've seen in tournaments.
Yes.
Dami,
Makes sense.
Halrasi, and Ryabjik are well known in the tournament scene. Splay Beetle, Mitchwolf, and Gonets. I've seen Gonets. I think Splay Beetle was also in one of the earlier Forts Pro League seasons. Mitchwolf I'm largely unfamiliar with. I've seen the name. I don't remember where I've seen the name. I don't know if it's just joined for live streams or in previous tournaments. Either way, I don't remember any major tournament victories or some sort, whereas Halrasi has gotten MVP plays in previous tournaments, and Ryabjik is comparable. Dami, of course, well, Dami. I don't have a better description for Dami. I'm just gonna leave that one be. In this match, specifically, on the right-hand side in the red, Gonets, Blade Beetle, and Mitchwolf, playing as the Eagle Eye commander. Curious to see what they're going to do with that.
This is one of the new maps, isn't it?
It is. It is one of the hill fort adjacent maps. I say that because it has the hill in the middle, which prevents direct fire weaponry between the first two bases. This has resulted, I believe this was what, Flint Shadow's submission? This has resulted...
Peels.
I
think.
Peels.
Yep.
With the beautiful background mountain in the center. And this design where the meta strategy became building an incredible amount of machine gunners in a giant trench at the beginning, at the front here, protected by the hill, and defending any and all howitzers that came across. It was surprisingly effective, or should I say unsurprisingly very effective.
Yes, and it is hill fort adjacent for sure, with that lump in the middle there.
Hill fort inspired. I do think I prefer this one to hill fort, but
yeah,
there's some pretty heavy inspiration there. We need the Forts Pro Goofy League, where it's nothing but shenanigans and tomfoolery. That's what we call. That's what happens most of the time during a live stream kind of stuff. You want to see a tower of 12 cannons, or just variant forms of accelerators and concentrators. As it stands, and as I suspect will be fairly common across this tournament, mostly because of the 3v3 setting, slow build up. We expect to see not much in the way of action before the 5-ish minute mark. And that's no difference here. Like, it's pretty clean rush to heavy weapons for everyone involved. We do see swarm missiles for Ryabjik with an upgrade center, so those are going to go straight to nukes before doing anything crazy. Additionally, it's 3 swarm missiles, which is a heavy investment into them, so I expect to see at least 2 of them become nukes before they do anything meaningful with it. We do see a deep trench for Dami in the forwardmost position, with some flak for anti-air. I'm fully expecting cannons, and a lot of cannons for Team 2. I'm fully expecting... Oh, we do see Mitchwolf going with a swarm missile of his own. No heavy weapons tech. Oh no. He doesn't know. Or he's willing to put up with it. But I think he doesn't know that portals block wind, which is unfortunate. As those turbines will not be producing power. Yes, we do see 2 nukes. Oh, devastating damage. How Rasty timing out and rejoining immediately. Something happens. We didn't get a pause, which is unfortunate, but looks like no damage was dealt, so it's stable. Little bit of an internet hiccup there, but things are okay. Everything turned out okay. Sniping. The snipers going back and forth. The nukes coming online for Ryabjik, and we're going to see the first nuclear launch. Is there enough anti-air for Team 2? No. The plasma beam taking out one of the nukes to some of the swarm missiles, but a heavy hit leaves Gonats from Team 2 in the forwardmost position, reeling and, well, pockmarked with shrapnel holes. Hasn't repaired yet, but is focusing on getting anti-air to prevent that kind of thing from happening again. No critical damage dealt to Gonats, just a lot of splash damage everywhere. Hefty repair bill, but nothing of value is lost. A good prioritization on the anti-air should mean that there's going to be a shutdown of the nuke before it's able to slam into Gonats again. Ooh. Nice shot from below. It takes out one of Halrassi's mines. Looks like it's time for the cannons to sing. It's past cannon o'clock. Way past cannon o'clock, and well, the cannons are inbound. We actually see fundamentally similar builds from both teams here. Cannons from the topmost base, missiles from the middle base, lasers from the bottom base. The difference is that Team 1 seems to be executing it a bit faster, and I'd say a bit more strongly. This, of course, has been undercut by Halrassi losing his cannons to an earlier plasma beam. This gives Team 2 the opportunity to deal some real damage, or at least ramp up their damage. Oh, there it is.
Yep.
Gonats failing to superior wielding of laser beams. Lots of damage. Goes down. Dami eliminating him. Well done. Sorry, Ryabzik eliminating him. Fire beam covering for the nukes. It's enough. They both land.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
Plasma beam follow-up, and that's it. Team 2 loses 2 forts, only 1 fort remaining, and all 3 players are commanding it, but it's 3 forts worth of firepower versus 1 fort worth of firepower, and, well, it's not looking good. The smoke coming in and preventing reconstruction. They're able to slip past it and reconnect to the missile launchers, but I suspect they won't be able to do anything with those before the next volley comes in, because that volley is coming in right now, and it's angry. One nuke goes drunk and misses its target, but there's still an incredible amount of firepower coming in the form of multiple laser beams, and that's it. Focusing their fire to the core, it goes all the way through, and Team 1, Ryabzik, Dami, and Halrassi explode in victory. Well done.
Very nice.
Very, very
satisfying.
Well done. Yes. Yeah, that was good. They had a great... Team 2 had a great shot early on with their laser beam coming in from below and sniping out two of Halrassi's cannons. Almost taking out Halrassi in the process. But it just wasn't enough. The other 2 players, like Team 1, just kind of had a significant edge over Team 2. Despite going for the exact same strategy, Team 1 was ahead of them in all fronts. The only reason Team 2 was able to keep up with them at all is because of that earlier cannon snipe. Barring that, the swarm missile the missile player was ahead, and the laser player was ahead for Team 1.
Yeah.
And it was enough. shutting down one player just left them at a stronger position than the combined firepower of the 3 remaining players on Team 2 on the right-hand side.
Yeah, I thought Halrasi was was a goner there.
Yeah, it was
Especially
close.
That happening, and then I think he dropped out, and then managed to come back.
The cannon detonation desynced him for some reason, and he timed out just immediately, just for a moment. He came back immediately. It sent him back to lobby for some reason. But he was able to get back in and recover. Typically, we'd pause during that, but the referee didn't get the pause button in time. Maybe didn't notice. At least the one who has control to do these things. As we get set up for the next round. Next up, it will be Team 974 versus Ishaki. I'm largely unfamiliar with the players on these teams. I recognize Butterdog and Nils, who will be Team 2, Team Ishaki. Sorry, Team 1, Team 974. Yeah.
Had to do another lobby shuffle.
Yeah.
Got some bad internet going on today for some reason.
So it would seem. Is it in this matchup? We do have similar rankings for the ranked season for both teams here. Both teams have badges. Expecting a little bit more even of a matchup. Though I am largely unfamiliar with the players on Team Ishaki.
Yeah, I haven't seen them before. Which is a good thing, actually. It's nice to see new players.
Well, at least new to the tournaments. They've clearly been around for a while and have some experience. Yeah. I mean, rank 7 and rank 9 are not inexperienced players. They're not new.
Yeah.
We have 7, 9, and 36 on Team 2. 4, 20, and 16 on Team 1. But I will say, the ranked ladder has surprisingly little weight when comparison to tournament style. Not that there's a big discrepancy in the style of matches, it's just that there tends to be the players who focus on tournaments and are at the highest tier tends to not be incredibly high ranked, or at least tend to not do a lot of the ranked. Like, some of them will do it, but most of them just play ranked every so often and don't play enough to get to the top end of ranked. And so we have this kind of unusual situation where the best players are not ranked at the highest tier of the official, like the ranked season.
Yeah, and I mean, we're also comparing 1v1 versus team play.
This is very true.
Which is a different dynamic, isn't it? You gotta work with your teammate.
Very different dynamic. Eaton down at rank 37 with 100% win rate and only 18 games played, compared to someone like Armadillo, who we saw in the first round, with 110 ranked games and a 72% win rate.
Sure.
Let's see. We have Hack Tony with 208 games played, which is a lot of games played.
It is.
But that's some of the discrepancy we see a lot of times with the forts in the forts ladder.
I think we might be close.
It looks like it. Commanders have been banned. The match is made. Once the player's ready up, we'll be starting off here, which should happen any second now. Butter dog. Of all the typos.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good time to grab a drink. I've got myself some nice tea here, but nothing exciting. And we're off. All right. So we will be playing on Shattered Rift, another one of the maps added from the most recent map making tournament. All of my none of my camera location hotkeys work because these are technically not the map making competition maps, or at least not the ones submitted for the map making competition, as they are resubmitted to be added. I have to redo all the camera location because I still have the Steam Workshop player private ones, not the official version.
Yeah, I understand.
Like,
yeah.
Like, why are these not working? How many times have I played this map and just used existing camera location hotkeys? No, it's technically different map. All right.
Hey, remember when we didn't save them?
I know. Every single time. I can't. I really shouldn't be complaining. After all these years of manually playing anti-air, I could finally have it be automatic, and now I'm complaining I have to manually anti-air again. Lord have mercy. Well, in this match, we have here on the left-hand side, in the blue, playing as the Overdrive Commander, it's Nils, Julian, and Butterdog. Overdrive Commander, I'm not sure. So, Overdrive Commander is one of those which I'm not terribly surprised to see used in a 3v3 competitive scene, but also a little surprised. And we'll get to that in a moment. Because on the other side, we have a much more specialized commander. On the right-hand side, in the red, it's TNV Nokimiya, and a Cyrillic name I cannot read. Playing as the Scattershot Commander. Scattershot Commander, on the other hand, a commander I would really expect. We have co-op on death strats happening. I didn't notice this. Being prepared. Okay. So we have. I'm going to call this out here. Going to interrupt for this. This player has purposefully removed their own core from play. They've done this because when the core is removed, they get control of their teammate's base. This allows them to merge their fort and have, well, a giant fort, a singular giant fort, as opposed to two smaller separate forts. This has benefits. This has drawbacks. It's a strategy we see every so often, but it is quite different from the standard pattern of forts, so I feel the need to mention it whenever we see it. As I was saying regarding commander choice, Scattershot has a strategy that is very good. Scattershot upgrades your hybrid style weapons. We're talking fire beams, we're talking 20 mils, and it upgrades them to proper heavy weapons. Nope, that's the wrong commander. Scattershot is the commander that empowers 20 millimeters and turns them into a shotgun. This means that the Team 2 can build a whole bunch of 20 mils and empower them during the commander active for massive damage. This gives it very simple, singular strategy that is incredibly powerful. And when combined together with the power of 3 players, just can delete forts with just a little bit of focus fire. Makes it quite good. On the other hand, Overdrive is a very generalist commander. Eco-focus, doesn't have any aggressive capabilities. It's known more as like a tech switch kind of commander. I guess it's the upgrade commander. It lets you upgrade everything faster. Lets you use the upgrade center as a tier 1 tech, so you can skip tier 1 tech if you go upgrade center instead. Very eco-focused. Their commander ability is literally just get more economy. And as such, it doesn't have any dedicated plan. The only aggression you can really get out of Overdrive is taking advantage of their upgrade speed, allowing you to get something like swarm missiles upgraded to nukes, or heavy mortars, as we see Butterdog here wielding heavy mortars quite successfully, actually. Surprisingly successfully, again in this context. But Overdrive tends to not be an exceptionally aggressive commander because of that, and one of the things that surprises me here is that most of the early game aggression tactics, something like mortars or rockets, while they are somewhat stronger in the hands of an Overdrive team, are also generally weaker in a 3v3. And this is why, because we have 3 players with advanced here. It just clears the skies of mortars. And the strength you gain from playing Overdrive is far outcome by the strength of anti-air and from multiple sources. So you tend to not see a lot of early game play, and therefore it's unlikely that you see any kind of Overdrive play for anything beyond bonus eco. But bonus eco does not win the game, at least especially not in the face of something like Scattershot, which can just the team can easily get 620 mils, and then just remove an entire fort from existence, and the extra eco won't save you from that. So this is an interesting pick in a 3v3. If this were a less competitive lobby, something like, say, any of our streams, we'll see Overdrive all the time, because when you're playing a 4v4 and half the players are unfamiliar with the strategies and commander synergies, just having more eco is fine enough. But for a competitive scene, it takes a lot to be able to wield that eco while defending against the very pointed strategies of whatever the opposing team is going to hit you with. And it looks like they're doing fine with it, off the back of, honestly, the mortars and the early cannons. What has happened here is those mortars slammed, what I'm being informed is Alexander's, is his name, slammed Alexander's 20 mils, slowing them down just long enough for Team 1 to bring cannons to bear, and use those cannons to wipe out the rest of the 20 mils. And that set Team 2 back in a way that I would not have expected beyond just a pretty nasty or lucky roll of the dice. Now, Team 2 still has 20 mils, but they're not using them in a way that I would expect Team 2 to be using them. They're firing at the one location which doesn't have a core, which isn't vulnerable and cannot be vulnerable because there's no core there anymore. Team 2 needs to be taking those 20 mils and firing out... Oh, that's it.
Wow.
Oh my god, it survives. I was fully expecting Nukamiya to collapse there in a chain reaction. It's very rare that you see a core get yoinked forwards after getting knocked out, but it's not impossible. As we've seen as we can see here. But as I was saying, those 20 mils are specifically hitting a location that cannot be meaningfully damaged because there's nothing there to destroy. Those weapons from Team 2 need to be slamming into either the top base for Team 1 or the bottom base for Team 1, one of the two, but not the center. And if Team 2 manages to, all together, during commander abilities, slam 4 or 5 of their 20 mils into Team 1's more vulnerable locations, I would expect massive damage to happen. And they almost got it there, but they didn't quite merge their shots. And so they're just not landing the shots they need to. They're not firing the locations they need to fire. And that, I think, just comes from better scouting. Like, Team 2 needs to figure out and get together and communicate, hey, I found a weak location in Team 1, which is most locations except for anywhere at the center mass. And then all focused, there they go, now they're focusing. Massive damage, or at least a heavy repair bill. A lot of the ablative armor for Team 1's top fort's been removed, and their cannon, their weapons platform has been shredded, but still stands, even though they're now using sandbags just to try to keep it alive in its now vulnerable state. Another round of shots like that from Team 2 would likely see Team 1 losing half their cannons, which would be a good start. Additionally, firing anywhere on the lower base would be almost game-winning amounts of damage for Team 2. But here's the thing, Team 1, with their economic superiority, is going to start running away with the game. If they are not set back pretty heavily, then Team 2's just gonna get choked out of the game. That's well, the benefit of going high eco, and the main benefit of going overdrive. Oof, so close, so far away. Yeah, this is looking like it's just about checkmate here. Team 2 just lost 320 mils. Not to door snipes, just to cannons knocking on their door. It's just enough damage output coming from Team 1 that Team 2 can no longer sustain it. That's 6 cannon, 7 cannons. 7 cannons from Team 1 slamming into Team 2. That's it. That's a checkmate worth of cannons. You do not repair, do not recover. The sheer damage output is beyond the economic capabilities of Team 2 at this point. The only thing keeping them in this game is the sheer quantity of armor that Team 2 possesses at this point. Once that armor's been destroyed, it will not be rebuilt before the next round of cannon shells, and then that's just going to be coming into the end here. We see Team 1, the merged bases, are rocking out at about 1.5k energy per second, which is, you know, an entire cannon shell, which is a cannon shell every 2 seconds. That's a lot. That's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage output. They're at 30,000 energy and floating right now. Just let that sink in. It only takes 3,000 energy to fire a cannon. They can fire 10 cannons simultaneously. And in the time it takes them to re-aim, they've already regained that energy back. Like, it takes them a whopping, 15 seconds to regain that entire energy. Yeah, look at it. The base is deforming as everything starts to come crumbling down around them. Team 2 officially has only 1 weapon remaining, and it's undefended. Well, there it is. I would say Team 2 had the early lead, or at least early advantage. They had map control and the ability to... maybe not map control, but they had the ability to deal game-ending amounts of damage. Didn't quite land the critical shots they needed to make it happen. And now Team 1, blue team here on the left, is just running away with it. I like seeing all 3 players trying to repair the front of the base all at the same time. Like, oh no, this is how it ends. As that is indeed how it ends, as cannon shell after cannon. I think the only reason Team 2 is still in this game is because some of those cannons don't have the angle to hit the core. And there it is. Death by cannonade. Well, Butterdog, Julian, and Nils, congratulations taking victory in this round. And moving on to the next stage. As they explode in victory. Well done.
Awesome.
Very, very well done. That was kind of a satisfying one, actually. I was fully expecting Team 2 to be a little bit more, to make it a little bit more even, I guess. I was expecting them to deal some critical damage that would have set Team 1 back and have to kind of force Team 1 to fight from the back foot, relying on Overdrive's eco boost to stay in the game at all. But that didn't quite happen. They just didn't get the damage in the first place, and then it just Team 1 ran away with it. Just a little bit of aggression from Team 1 set them back, like distracted them for too long, and that was over.
I was just looking at the Season 5 Pro League Challenger mode, and it looks like we've got 17 teams signed up for Season 5 so far, which is a good sign. A nice lump of teams, a bunch of teams that we've seen before, and maybe some new ones too, which is cool. So just a reminder that to everybody that it's open to everybody who wants to play.
That's coming up mid-March. At least the start of the season will be mid-March, and we've got a few more days to sign up. If you guys want to sign up, make sure to join the Fort's official Discord and hop on. Throw your name into the lot. All right, up next, it looks like we have. The French teams are going to hate me for this. Les Petites Celles and Eating Nemo.
Yep. Peel is in.
I wonder which one he's in.
Yeah.
I couldn't never guess. One of the French teams versus... Actually, I am curious what...
Eating Nemo is a bunch of people that postfix their names with the word Pixar. So they're very Pixar-oriented.
I remember seeing them in the last tournament, actually. Okay. I recognize them. Yes, but for the French team, we have Peel, Though 15 Rider, and Caraba facing off against the Pixar-themed team. Cool team in FPL also, yes. I recall them being surprisingly effective compared to what I would expect the average newer player, or at least players of their hours. Like the newer players about the game says, yes, that is what I recall. Made for some surprisingly interesting matches, which I'm okay with that. Yes. They might show up a bit later since it's like 5 a.m. right now. Whoa. Welcome to time zones. We do have a couple more minutes as we get the remaining competitors into the round, into the lobby. Get them all prepared. Alright, the players are here. I'm looking forward to this one, see how it goes. Classic, up and down, 3v3. Alright. Match is made. Players are ready. I think it's time to do this. And we're off. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Here on the left-hand side, in the blue, playing as the Overdrive Commander, Karaba, Go, 15 Rider, and Pile, sorry, be facing off against their opponents on the right-hand side. In the red, Bruce Pixar, Dory Pixar, and Nemo Pixar. Now, I don't have a lot of experience with the players here on the right side, in the red. I do recognize them. I remember them being surprisingly observant and reacting quickly to everything thrown at them. And my last recollection of them was with just a little bit more practice, with experience with doing more efficient builds, they would be a horribly powerful team. And I'm curious to see if we're going to see that here. Looks like Team 1 taking pretty strong advantage of the overdrive, while all three players on Team 1 going upgrade center, skipping normal Tier 1 tech. Okay. We're going to see the early cheese. This is the earliest one of the earliest possible cheeses. The triple AP sniper. Skipping mines to do it too. So if Team 2 is unprepared for this, and it looks like they are not unprepared for this. But this could very well... No, I don't think anything's going to happen here. I think... Yeah, look at that. Team 2 all walled up. No. They're prepared. And just like that, Team 1 does a dirty, filthy early game cheese and will get just about nothing for it. Nothing beyond sniping out maybe a sniper or two. I got a buzzsaw. This cheese is specifically meant to snipe out enemy cores. Typically specialized against a pinch fist player or some other heavily greedy build. But we don't see much in the way of super heavy greed out of Team 2. And so these AP snipers just do nothing and then get counter-sniped. That's rough, because that puts Team 1 here pretty far behind. Like Pele in the center fort is just now getting his basic mines up and running, which is, you know, minutes behind. So that's tough. That's really tough. Compare this to Team 2, who's already got a howitzer or 2 howitzers in production, with all of them going cannons and have completed their cannon tech. So that's rough. That just straight up puts Team 2 in the lead here by a pretty substantial margin, I think. Yeah, triple howitzer for Team 2. That's going to be a lot of damage. Team 1 going with the swarm missile play. Looks like going to be going for nukes, going portal nuke. Portal nuke into what I presume is cannons. Their first player looking like they're supposed to go early game pressure, but without Team 2 going greedy, that pressure's kind of fallen off pretty heavily. A couple mini gunners have come out now. I haven't been revealed or fired yet. That might be relevant to the amount of pressure you can add in there. Pele in the forwardmost base for blue team, going for lasers now as the follow-up. The miniguns applying just enough damage. The AP snipers are able to touch the 20 mil. They're not going to be able to break it. That's yeah, he's just selling off those minigunners. There's nothing. They're not going to be able to do anything with those. All that early game pressure is just a waste of time and resources. And now the time, it's cannon o'clock. You know what that means. It's time for those heavy weapons to come to bear, and the only team that tried to build heavy weapons is Team 2. And boy, do they have them. They have all the heavy weapons. It's howitzers. It's a lot of howitzers. Team 1 reacting by getting some machine guns, or machine gunners, looking to handle the anti-air. They take out the first howitzer shell. Do they get the second howitzer? That's a no. It does a lot of damage, but nothing critical. Leaves the core exposed. And there goes the whole core. It's a lot of damage. That is a lot of damage. And look at that triple howitzer. Look at the timing on that. It's beautiful. Wow. Massive chunks of the base is removed. Yeah, this is looking to be quite one-sided. Team Pixar just, or should I say Team Eating Nemo, just, coming in with a lot of cannons, and they are singing. I do want to shout out for Though 15 Rider on Team 1. 3 cannons under construction right now. If he is permitted by some reason to actually use those cannons, this could be. Oh my God! They missed. They just missed. Like it was exploded. They just missed. That hurts. And that was a well-aimed 20 as well. It's just the 20 just splashes all over the place to the point where it just straight up missed the core. That hurts. Yeah. That hurts so much. As I was saying, if Team 1 is permitted to bring those 4 cannons to bear, he could break someone from Team 2, but he's still got another 30 seconds before they come online, And he doesn't have the energy to actually keep those going, so... He's a threat, but not a big one. Door Snipe takes out the 20 mil for Team 2, which is nice because the 20 mil is a decent follow-up to the howitzers. Not that the howitzers are known for leaving much behind to follow up against. But Team 1 is in desperate need of just ridiculous amounts of anti-air. And look at that! Team 2's already got snipers on the board. Like, they've got, what is that, 4 snipers? Just keeping Team 1's anti-air off of the board. Team 2 has map control and firepower dominance and lots of howitzers. Team 1's cannons, they're coming online, and with it, off the back of the overdrive commander's extra eco, may be able to fire them and potentially start wearing down Team 2. The nukes fly. The nukes are either caught or shut down. Either way, the nukes are not... They don't deal much in the way of damage. Alright, he's got one shot. He can get lethal here. Doesn't quite make it. Nemo down to 40% for Team 2 on Team 2. He's just tanking those cannon shells one by one, and it's a lot of damage. It's a lot of cannon fire. It looks like Team 1's going to focus on boosting their eco instead of fast cycling those cannons. It doesn't quite have the ability to fire those cannons off cooldown yet, but 4 cannons is a lot of cannons. And Team 2 has not developed upgrades, the upgrade tech, and so they will not be getting any heavy eco and oh, look at that. He's even defending his teammate because his Nemo up here doesn't have the eco to defend to rebuilds. Oh, that just snipes the core over it. Wonderful attempt for Team 2, but not quite enough. The cannon's just a little too powerful. But now here's the thing, and this is where cannons come in. You have 4 cannons that are all capable of firing at a single location. Though 15 Rider is just going to target the next core and do the same thing again. That's just how cannons do. If Team 2 is able to get up a return to sender around their core, then that should shut this down almost permanently. I say that knowing full well that there are swarm missiles on the board, but Team 2 does have map control at this point. Oh, Lord have mercy. This is a surprisingly good back and forth what it is.
Alright.
I fully expected Team 2 with that howitzer to just dominate, but Team 1 has managed to just not die, and now they're actually dealing real damage. Those nukes lands, knocking Bruce almost out of the game, dealing massive damage. Team 2's losing map control.
Yep.
Look at those cannons. He's not going for the cores, instead focusing on the eco, and it's working. Here come the nukes. Big chunks of the base removed. Look at that, the anti-air, it's intact. And there's a lot of it. The howitzer's shut down. This is, of course, one of the concerns about going howitzers, powerful as they may be, can be defeated by machine gunners and map control. Team 2 lost that map control, and it's interesting.
Oh.
Tier 3 style howitzer play. Probably worth it, given the front-facing anti-air coming in, but gonna take a few rounds to get that thing aimed. Or not, or he just... A perfect shot to begin with. You love to see it. You could just straight up refire that. Team 1 does not have enough anti-air to defend against that. At least not reliably. Hitting from that angle could be devastating. Oh, and he gets the snipe shot through the portal. He blows through the forward defenses and gets the shot through the portal, and in doing so, goes directly to the howitzer, causing internal explosions. Team 2 is not making it. Look at that. The last remaining cannon for Team 2. Exposed. Under fire. This is the end. Off the back of one player from Team 1 getting 4 cannons. It's all it took to turn the tides here. And there it is.
Oh, that's my minigun.
Team Nemo getting taken out in a quite a surprising turnaround. Explosions on all fields.
Yeah. That's amazing, that cannon going through the portal.
Yes, a beautiful shot. The cannon just slinging around there, taking out first couple cannon rounds, taking out the defenses in front of the portal, and then the next one going clean through the portal and hitting the core basically directly. Was absolutely top tier. Great way to end it. Oh, we got a desync here, actually. There it is. Clean through the portal. All right. Matches are great today.
So
they really are.
We're going to have a show match while we wait for some teams.
All right. It looks like one of the teams is delayed. They're a bit late. So what we're going to do is we're going to do just a show match. Just to have a good time between the players here. While we await one of the remaining teams. Question from chat. Do we have co-op on death enabled? Yes. Yes, we do. Tournament 30. Focusing on Moonshot and co-op on death in a 3v3 scenario. It was a major reversal. It kind of sort of was. Like, there was an incredible amount of damage output coming from team 2, and then just a little bit too much from team 1. It was the quad cannons that did it. He was free to get quad cannons, and you made it everyone else's problem. Very effective. All right. Question from chat. Hello, Nose. How are you doing on this fine lead raining afternoon?
It's early morning over here, and I'm doing absolutely fine. The coffee is starting to have effect, and yeah, I have to wake up at 5 a.m. to do these tournaments here in Australia. So early-ish.
God save the coffee, eh?
Good thing I'm an early bird.
I do this. Early bird's scary. Sounds like pain and suffering to me. You know, I will say it has actually been rather nice in my area outside, because typically my area is like super hot. But the past couple days has been lovely weather. Been going outside a bit, even in the mornings. Good excuse to put on the inline skates and go strolling.
Oh, yeah, that sounds pretty good.
It is. All right. You like the attempt to defend the teammate? Yeah, no, that was very well done. They recognized that one of their teammates was going to fall due to just massive incoming damage, and they made an attempt to defend against it, but it's just too little too late. All right. And we're off. You guys want good games for the fans, and we're going to show it. As here we have...
This is a show match, isn't it?
Yes. We are currently awaiting one of the teams who's not on time, although we're giving them some extra time to show up due to the circumstances. And while we give them that extra time, we're going to be showing you guys, well, this matchup. Just some of the competitors are looking to have some fun, and I figured you guys might want to see it. Here we have, on the left-hand side in the blue, Nils, Butterdog, and Julian, playing as the Overdrive commander. I feel like Team 1, someone picked Overdrive, and they're just too lazy to swap off of it. I feel like that's what's going on here. And they're facing off against their opponents here on Team 2. Pan W's cousin and Fort's game. I don't know the actual... if these players have more known gamer tags, I'm unfamiliar with them. Pan W, I recognize. Pan W's cousin is probably a meme name, as is Fort's game. I don't know their other aliases. Vicro, Drunistian, and Pan W for the names. Ah, okay, of course. Greenleaf, showing up for the... There you know. It's Greenleaf versus 954. Yep, there we go. Fort's on Steam, get it now. Advertising. Free advertisement for your favorite game. Within your favorite game. That's funny. So Drunistian and Vicro and Pan W on the right hand side in the red. That's your Team Greenleaf. And there goes one core dropping harmlessly in a beautiful explosion. Is this a 3-minute delay due to a tournament? Yes, we do have we're doing tournament casting, and as we do during any of the competitive matches, we have a delay involved. This is why there's not much in the way of chat interactivity. However, we can read you, including no's here. Things that you post in chat can and will be read by the developers. So you may get a response, maybe. No promises. If you ask a question,
maybe
it can certainly be seen and responded to. When Forts 2. Why do you like this?
Thanks for you to you.
Good lord. Alright. So we do see a little bit of early aggression here. We're going to see heavy mortar opener for Team 2. So that's fascinating. We may see even more heavy mortar coming out for... Something else is going on here. We have shotgun pressure for Team 1. You don't see that every day. Yeah, this is going to be something like 12 mortar opener for Team 2. That's going to be a lot. And they just so happen to be in a world where it's triple shotgun. Well, was triple shotgun. It's about to not be triple shotgun anymore. Team 1 already has decent anti-air. Shuts down the first volley of those mortars. It's not going to be enough anti-air, to put it lightly. I'm liking what I'm seeing, if only because mortars are fun. Not that I expect them to be particularly successful here. There's a lot of open space on this map for machine gun positions. However, Team 1 is not prepared for this. They have enough anti-air to defeat like 1 player's worth of mortars, but this is 2 players worth of mortars. And Team 2 is focusing pretty heavily on the map control. And I think the ignition, the incendiary heavy mortars, will be a giveaway that Team 2 is going to be investing overwhelmingly into mortars. And you know what? Maybe I spoke too soon. Team 1 is actually holding the line. Those mortars are not landing despite both players coming up. Look at that. Even the fire beam defending the mortars is insufficient to let the mortars make it across. Like, yeah, sure, 1 or 2 mortars landing every so often, but that is not enough damage. Team 1 is just going to be able to do whatever they want. And what they want involves building cannons. Many cannons. It's a lot of cannons. The one flak taking out like 6 mortar shells. Oh, Lord have mercy. Yeah, look at that. 1 mortar makes it through from the entire volley. This is why I was saying that mortars are just not a great choice in a 3v3 or any 3v3 and 4v4s anytime you have these large players, larger maps, just because of the scaling of anti-air. You can get so much anti-air that the mortars just don't make it across the map, and that's just how that works. I will say the incendiary machine guns, among other things, are being, well, terrifying to deal with. Obnoxious to deal with. Put it nicely. Oh dear. If Team 2 is able to get more fire beams online and more consistently assist in the defense with those mortars, they may be able to get the mortars to land and deal actual damage, which I think is the plan. They're not quite making it just yet. I'm not sure why. They do have 2 fire beams, but triple cannon coming out, slapping Team 2, knocking their core down to 73% and leaving them with very little armor remaining around their core. Looks like all mortars have been retargeted to Team 1's cannon, placements. Yeah, without those fire beams, those mortars do not make it at all. Which is not a surprise. Just how it goes. But with the double fire beam, those mortars are kind of sort of making it. At least some of them are. Oof. Return Descenders for Team 2 will keep those cannons at bay, at least for the moment. Yeah, Team 2 desperately needs more fire beams, and Team 1 needs to re-aim their cannons away from those Return Descenders. Honestly, if Team 1 manages to hit the mortar positions, those mortars go away. It's gonna be game-ending for Team 2, as the mortars actually do hit a pretty critical spot, causing mass deformation. The sandbags come up. They develop an entire beach in defense of that particular point. So that will keep them, you know, alive and safe. But it is scary to see. That's a sight you don't want to see if you're Team 1 right now. Oof. Plasmas from Team 1 start sniping out fire beams for Team 2. That's a bit painful, as the fire beam's the only thing keeping these mortars relevant. Oof. Team 2 starting to lose mines and other extremities due to energy weapon usage. Alright, that happened. And this is a surprisingly... Ooh. The Return Descenders temporarily getting shut down, presumably due to energy expenditure, running out of energy. That enabled a cannon to actually slap the top fort for Team 2, causing some fairly substantial damage in the process, like nearly game ending, bringing his core down to 56%. But the heavy mortars, they start digging. It's they dig pretty heavily too. Those minigunners doing a decent damage. Oh, the fire beam burning all the anti-air out of the sky, and the mortars land. Those cannon emplacements are not long for this world if they keep taking mortar fire like that. They're not continuing to keep take mortar fire like that. That's the anti-air too strong. Oh, those cannons are now targeting the mortars. Takes one of the mortars. This match has stalled out a lot more than I expected. I still credit Team 1 with being at an advantage. Just because Team 2 is just one cannon shell away from losing incredible amounts of material. But Team 1 is just tanking mortar hits, among other things, and that's not the kind of thing you want to be tanking. The pure suppressive firepower coming out from Team 2, between the mortars, the machine guns, the miniguns, the snipers, and the bonus incendiary action from the commander ability, it's keeping Team 1 just kind of locked down. It's still a knife's edge here. Just one shot in the wrong spot, Team 2 just collapses. We're not seeing that same kind of singular weakness for Team 1, but just the raw damage output could be a problem. Whoa! Cannon completely exposed for Team 1. Is it enough? Nope. The defenses come online, the sandbags come back to keep it intact. As does the... and immediately the fire active comes out to burn through it all. Classic. It's a lot. Team 1 losing most of their anti-air. Those mortars are starting to make it just as I mentioned it. Team 1 losing most of their anti-air. The mortar's starting to get through, and well, a plasma beam cuts through Team 2's defenses, taking out another fire beam and some energy production along the way. Looks like they're changing targets. Both players from Team 2 now focusing the forwardmost base. I think they've given up on trying to break the cannon platform, saying this guy's got too much eco, too many defenses, too thick. Time to hit a different target. As Butterdog in the forwardmost position for blue team is burning to the ground and is unprepared for the sudden swarm of mortars. Lacking anti-air, Team 1 just doesn't have the ability to shut those mortars down. Team 2 takes pretty dominant map control, and with it, the mortars are now able to do their damage. The thing about mortars is that they're one of the highest DPS weapons in the game. Certainly one of the most cost efficient. So having free reign to deal damage is you can't let that happen. It is more DPS than cannons, and like by a pretty substantial margin. Like you really cannot have those mortars just slamming into you like this. It doesn't work. You gotta shut them down in some way, shape, or form. And mortars are pretty easy to shut down. It's not like it can't be done, but at this point in time, Team 1 is failing to do it. Just because the red team, they're focusing so heavily on map control that Team 1's not able to shut the mortars down. That said, Team 1 finally landed the cannon shot they needed and just wiped out 3 of the mortar launchers, which is going to dramatically reduce the amount of damage output. Like that's a lot of firepower reduction. The fire beams. So many fire beams. Even the EMP existing. It's nice to see everyone from Team 2 getting involved with the fire beams, because that means that those mortars are all but guaranteed to land, as there's just the air is constantly flooded with fire beam. And with mortars near guaranteed to land, the damage is intense. This is gonna start to feel really rough for Team 1. Let me rephrase that. It's definitely felt rough to be Team 1 for a time now, but it's gonna start to feel bad. There's no more could you really fight back. Fighting back for Team 1 now means counter-sniping and landing your cannon shells more than anything else. And even cannon shells are getting burned out of the air here. It's really rough, but they did manage to land a cannon shell, and it looks like they've eliminated every single mortar from one of the players from Team 2. With that, Team 2 just lost half their damage output. That's going to give Team 1 a lot of breathing room here. Like, a lot of breathing room here. I say as if those fire beams aren't still guaranteeing mortars land. Mortars to hit their targets and, well, all the damage that comes with it. God, the mortars, they're starting to cut deep. Once again, retargeting into the cannon emplacements on the top fort. Not breaking through yet, but limited time before they do. 6 heavy mortars is a lot of heavy mortars. Not sure what the plan is for Pan W's cousin, the middle fort for Team 2. After he lost his mortars, he hasn't reconstructed anything in terms of weapons. He doesn't have heavy weapons tech of any kind, so I'm curious to see what his plan is. He's either going to go for heavy weapons tech, at which point he won't have weapons for a couple minutes, or he's going to start reinvesting in lower tier weaponry, which he hasn't done yet, but could have done already. Team 1's suffering the experience of their entire base being on fire. Classic Firebird experience. Uh-oh. That could have been lethal. Team 1 just barely recovering. Hard walling off their cannons to do so, however, which will mean that Team 1 is effectively suppressed beyond their ability to do anything. So, Butterdog in the forwardmost fort is basically, at this stage, forced to break this stalemate. Well, stalemate's not a good word for it. Forced to break the death spiral. Or Team 1's going to struggle. Looks like Team 1 is understanding the situation they're in and is selling off their cannons, hoping to get a little extra cash out of it. But that's a bad omen. That's game-ending amounts of damage, like game-winning amounts of damage there. Forcing your opponents to sell off their cannons, just so they don't lose them, is how you win the game. The remaining cannons from Team 1 are still doing a lot of work. They're just taking out exposed components left and right every time they fire. But man, the sheer thickness from Team 1. Like, they keep taking hits and they keep just rebuilding because they can. Alright, it looks like Team 1 has stabilized behind anti-air and just general overwhelming girth. Team 2 hasn't quite gotten their weapons back online again. I am curious to see how they're going to proceed from here. Those cannons from Team 1 are doing a lot of work. The sheer quantity of fire beams from Team 2. This is definitely one of the strats of all time. Probably one of the lesser fun strats to play against. I do want to credit Team 1 with using exposed metal to help mitigate against fire. The incendiary flak detonating behind the forts and just burning things. Oh, there's the howitzer. Team 1 finally getting a howitzer and bringing it to bear. This is going to dramatically assist in the damage output. Oof. Yeah, Team 2 really starting to fall behind again. The lack of those... only having half the mortars it's a problem for them. Either Dranistian or Vicro, one of the two, is finally redeveloping the mortar position. Looks like going back to mortars rather than heavy weapons tech. Here's the howitzer, and it makes it cross. Pretty cleanly, in fact. Oof. The mortars, they just keep landing. They keep dealing damage. Those cannons. Looks like they're aiming for the mortars again. So the teams do need to escalate in some manner. Team 1 is trying to escalate, but given the amount of pressure they've been under for such an extended period of time, they've been unable to do so, at least reliably. Team 2 has some degree of chosen not to escalate. Oh, the door snipe from the plasma. The EMP flying and making it all the way across uncontested. That's a bad sign to see. The reason by the way, we've seen the mortars stop firing is because Team 2 lost their energy production. The cannons did actually manage to get enough hits onto Team 2 that it took out their energy production, which completely shut down their aggression for about a minute here. This has let Team 1 actually stabilize. Now we're going to see Team 1 bring to bear a bunch of weapons, or at least construct a bunch of weapons, which will be active in about a minute or so, and start to fire their own cannons in reply. Yeah, so Team 2 is taking damage now, like actual real damage, as those weapons start to come online one by one. Cannons. They just work. Oh, more turbines removed. An internal detonation. Well, that's unfortunate. Team 1 taking a heavy hit from themselves, against themselves. The mortars. Make it across the clean skies. Nice shotgun and manual anti-air use. I will say, Nils, Butterdog, and Julian have done a wonderful job at surviving this incredibly rough Firebird play. The amount of APM and general stress involved at defending against this is incredibly high. Oh, the howitzer lands. Oh, but the follow-up isn't the... Is it? Oh, they're trying so hard to follow it up, and they're not making the shot. Oh, the core was exposed. Well, it wasn't quite exposed, but it was vulnerable to heavy weapons. They had a chance, and they just didn't quite make it. But the vulnerable point has been discovered as Team 2... Well, they weren't able to keep the weapons shut down for Team 1, and remember that moment ago when I said, hey, Team 1's getting a lot of weapons? Well, those weapons are online, and they are making it someone else's problems. Specifically, Pan W's cousin. His core is down to 88% and dropping, and that's it.
There it is.
After 29 minutes, the massive... And after 29 minutes, weathering an incredible storm of mortars and general early game type weapons, Team 1 finally breaks through and deals game-ending amounts of damage, and immediately follows it up with wiping out Pan W's mines. Every single mine sniped out, undercut by plasma. There's not much left for Team 2 anymore. Not much at all. Oh, that should be it, right? Ooh. Just barely survives. Team 2 has less than half a core of health between them. It's a lot of damage, guys. The spikes. Death by plasma. %, and that's it. Team 1 wins it. Butterdog. It was. Oh my god, that must have felt so good to be Butterdog, Nils, and Julian right now. To suffer through 29 minutes of Firebird mortars. Only to finally come out with a victory. That's intense. That's really intense. Oof. Very, very well done. Alrighty then. Looks like we're off to the next round. What's the next matchup we have here?
I think we're doing another show match, and then we're just trying to give this other team a bit of time if they can make their match.
Okay. Sounds good to me. More show matches. I'm very okay with this. So one more show match.
Yeah, and if the other team doesn't show up by the end of that, we might call it after that and let them do their match offline.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I'm just happy for more good games. Looks like we have a little bit of a fighting over the match. Are we gonna do regicide? I'm in this. Hey, there he is. All right, so we have got a new show match coming up here. Not a serious match, but we do have serious players involved. We can see. I have no idea what to look forward to here. But let's find out. And we're off. So here we have a 3v3 show match on Regicide. Didn't this map make it into the base game? Because we're currently on the workshop version. I forgot to check.
I think so. I forget.
Not that it really matters.
I should know this. I should know this.
Not that it really matters. I just expected maybe
it's in
42.
base game. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I think 42 just pressed the workshop version, which is it's the same thing. It's like it doesn't matter. I was just like, wait a minute. This was my favorite map for the map making competition. The amount of detailing that goes into this, I literally, if I started speaking about the details, all the little details and things that are in this map, I would not be finished speaking about them and describing them before this match ended. It is incredibly detailed with all kinds of things. But the top level one sentence description is each team has a king base in the center that can only be destroyed after the external bases, the other two on the flanks, are destroyed. So the teams have to destroy the top and bottom bases and then focus on the killing blow at the center base. Does adjust the strategies a little bit, but only a little bit. So I am curious to see how this is going to go. This is not a competitive match. This is just a showcase between competitive players. So we may not get top-end strategies. Typically, whenever we have this kind of setting, it's not super try-hard, but instead it is likely the teams are going to be having fun. That said, the build orders I'm seeing look particularly try-hard. So we probably have... It's shaping up to be what I suspect is a standard round. I almost oh, there's the ejection,
Okay.
which has consequences on this map that are a bit more dire than on other maps, because yeah, if you eject on this map, sure, it's easy to do co-op on death, but you also leave the center core vulnerable to destruction, which means that core, at least the top one here, will be destroyed, and there's nothing the Team 2 can do about it. As we see here, the Team 1's just going to snipe at it until it's gone, because they get it for free, because, you know, they can. The problem with this is that it's, well, it's a whole extra core gone, and cores, as you may know, are pretty good for economic production. They have a trickle of metal as well as a fairly heavy income of energy. So losing a core is not ideal, especially when not necessary. And Team 2 has just traded out 2 cores for the benefit of having wider control over multiple forts. So that's an interesting decision. I don't know how I feel about it on this map in particular. But hey, we'll see how it works out for him. It does mean that there's fewer points to protect around the top ball, around the top expansion. So they may be able to expend those extra resources on fully tanking up the bottom fort while turning the top fort into a DPS based weapons platform. Be an interesting idea. I'm curious to see how it works out. But both teams just going straight to heavy weapons. Pretty heavily into the heavy weapons, that is to say. looks like the weapons are starting to come online, but not fully operational just yet. It is a little past cannon o'clock. Oh, the buzzsaws. I'm sorry. That had an energy shield. He was defended against that for like it was like the splash bouncing off the energy shields caused a collapse, which just deleted 3 howitzers. That's wild. Buzzsaws are so disturbingly strong, even against things that they're supposed to, be defended against. Oh no. Alright, well, those howitzers are being reconstructed along with all the economy in that top region. Quadruple cannon, very tightly placed. I love to see it. That spot is getting pummeled quite heavily, to put it nicely.
Still standing.
It is still standing. In fact, took very little damage. Still has 3 doors on the least defended cannon, which is a lot of doors. And will reply in kinds and immediately just punches clean through the defenses on that one and gets a door snipe. So
wow.
That's a pretty... That exchange was extremely one-sided. Team 1 losing a whole 2 weapons for that exchange, which is, a lot. Team 1 actually fairly substantially behind in weapons, I think. Is that true? No. I mean, barring the loss of weapons from the cannon fire, Team 1 just has a different distribution of weapons. Team 2 has just about nothing on their bottom fort, nothing beyond just thick defenses, and all of their weapons are up on top. Whereas Team 2's weapons are distributed everywhere. Yeah, the howitzers just shattered all the defenses on those cannons, and the 20 mils are coming through to... Oh my god, they don't deal enough damage to break the cannons. There it is.
Wow, okay.
It's just at this range, the 20 mil spread out so much, they just didn't hit the cannons enough to break them. Plasma beam, on the other hand, is the antithesis of spreading, so it just instantly sniped out all 4 of those cannons in a single shot. So that's gonna set Team 2 back all the way. Now, Team 2 is going to be relying on the top platform for their weaponry. Fortunately, they happen to have a lot of weaponry over here, and they are wielding it. Oh!
Wow, what a shot.
Through the open doors. That's a clean removal. Now, it looks like Team 2 is going to try to focus on removing that. Honestly, I don't think taking out that core is a priority. Like, as much as it would be nice to do, like, I don't want to let them have the core. It's not a big deal if Team 1 keeps their core for a longer duration of time. It's just not important to remove it. Not at this stage. I would love to see those minigunners focusing on taking out anti-air so those howitzers can get more damage done. As opposed to trying to work their way and worm their way around eliminating the core. Oh, that's close. Remember, Team 2 purposefully ejected one of their cores, meaning if Team 2 loses this last core down here, they lose the game. There's very little armor around that core here, and they need to do something about that. There's no more core on top for Team 1. So, those howitzers going to the top location, while nice, aren't going to be threatening to end the game. Which means Team 1 doesn't have to prioritize defending that location. Would love to see those howitzers drop their shells elsewhere. I think the ideal location would be into the weapons platform above Team 1's central cores. That shot's going to be a little hard to make. I believe Team 2 agrees. And they make the shot. Ooh. Oh, that's it.
It's all happening.
It's all going sideways all at once. Only the last... It's they're trying. They're trying to save it. The last core is exposed. Like, this is no way, right? Like, this is not... Unless you have portals on those... Like, unless that entire trunk is a portal. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, you got it. Yeah.
They got it. Team 1 is victorious. The peasants revolted. Oh, Lord have mercy. And there we have it. Peel, Caraba, and Though 15 Rider taking victory on Regicide. It's so beautiful. All right. So that should be the end of the showcase matches here.
Yeah. Just checking.
Check to see if the next competitors have arrived.
Okay, looks like they haven't been able to make it, so I think we'll call it there because we don't know how long this is going to go for. So we'll reschedule their match offline and continue with this tournament next weekend into the quarterfinals.
All right. You heard it there, ladies and gentlemen. We have completed this bracket round. The quarterfinals will be happening next week as we've finished the round of 16 today. So if you guys like this kind of content, make sure to hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, and join the Discord where we show all of this stuff and get notifications for it and such, as we're looking forward to continuing these pro matches, the official Tournament 30, next week. Same time, same place. And I will see you guys
That's right.
there.
That's right. And also just another reminder about the FPL Season 5 signups are open. So if you want to be part of that, feel free to put together a team and sign up.
Indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy.
All right. Thanks, Incursus.
My pleasure. And I'll see you guys later.